Hey, Dave. Can you hear me?
So he suggested, that
I'm very sure.
that I try, or Jim said, go to a guy named Scott, meet me here. I don't remember the name exactly.
So you need an instructor or what?
Yeah, I talked to you about it. Haley needs
Oh, Haley.
instrument.
Yeah, I don't do instrument anymore. She has her private now?
Yeah, she's passed the Brown school,
Good.
but she's been working on the instrument, but her instructor got pregnant and then had a baby, but now she can fly.
Okay.
So we were hoping to have the 177 done.
Yeah.
She's here for a few weeks.
Right here in this room.
And Patrick doing her Air Force thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're
So you
hoping
look
to be
at
able
what's
to
real
use that.
message here.
The 177 is still not, I mean, it's essential.
It's close. Looking at it, it seems
Yeah,
close.
yeah.
Did you send the
Close
530
out
out?
on the south ramp.
The 530,
That's-
so the
that's
button
about
is
it.
not working.
But,
Oh, the 430.
I think some like bigger
Yeah, no, I
is-
didn't.
It's done here.
I didn't. I
That's-
just, I mean, that was just
That's the
Tuesday night.
second radio, right?
Yeah.
That won't stop you from flying.
I don't know. I don't know.
Roger.
One side of the state doesn't necessarily know what's going on the other. No.
Yeah, I don't track it too much. Somebody
Yeah,
told me. How are you
I'm
tonight?
doing well. Yourself?
Trying to hang in there.
Me
Pull it
too.
off like,
Next three of us.
We're not running to 4:30 in the morning, are we?
Yeah, they did.
Did you see that?
write a potion.
It was ridiculous.
What's that?
The city council, they were there till 4:30 in the morning.
You're kidding.
God,
Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, 4:30. And it,
Did they decide anything?
well, they tabled the concrete crushing plant. They've met every requirement, federal,
Yeah.
state,
We,
OSHA,
Yeah,
and they won't make a decision because there's too many people
There
there.
was a big.
I guess it's election
You
season, so they're all
Yeah.
going,
know.
there's all this opposition sitting here. And then,
Want you there, want you doing.
and then
something.
this
Now,
other
we've
one,
got
these
moved
people
down
bought
to
13 acres.
Orlando.
Has zone commercial.
Is,
I really don't understand what the deal
going
was.
down.
They wanted to build two houses in there, in Windover, it's connected to Windover. And they wanted to convert some of the commercial
All
property
of the takes-
to residential.
And
And they had a bunch of opposition. You know, two houses on 13 acres.
What do you want, Wawa there?
We're pretty flexible.
I'd rather have two single family
Yeah.
dwellings than a
Yeah.
commercial.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't even, going into Windover, all you'd see would be
Well,
the
now,
Yeah.
it puts us
houses
in
are
a
gonna be,
good
we're gonna be
position
way
to,
back.
Yeah.
bring in
And
some
they
partners
denied
to
it.
get things done.
I don't get it.
City council.
You don't have a chance for a little payback.
Yeah, it's out of control.
That's not bad. You don't show up expecting that.
If you're gonna table something, I would table that. And then do it, do it at a different time or something, but if there's that much problem with it, and you gotta have that much discussion, you shouldn't be running those people. That's ridiculous. I would definitely. But they just denied it.
I don't know what's on his calendar, whether he's trying to take some time off or because Kevin wasn't gonna be here. He said, I'll send a scroll. Yeah. He just.
Send in the fourth string.
Yeah,
It's kind of the way I feel.
yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
paycheck works just the same.
Yeah.
And I got over here early and got a little tour from Dustin, and I didn't realize their office even
want
I didn't know what the big strong structure, yeah, it is very nice over there. I didn't know what the strong structure was. And then we could look at the apron expansion from airside, which always makes more sense than looking at it through the construction gate.
I remember the old days, those used to be friends.
Yes, right over there.
My wife can
It's
do
all
much steak.
grubbed together pretty much.
Try getting chicken wings. It's 3 times the price of steak.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I've heard of that.
It's only like about a 5-acre expansion. That's all.
Wednesdays are wings like 65 cents. I go in there, my grandson has a session with parents after school thing right across the street. So I drop him off. He's there for an hour. So I run across the street.
So he's doing it on his own and not for PAC.
Happy hour.
He doesn't have any money.
Holy cow. Wish it wasn't an hour drive.
Money
I've spent on gas.
He sent Aaron over. And Aaron just.
Take all that savings.
I got what you
That's
want.
not right.
This is what I.
Exactly.
And when it was hey, then I just even though they had done work. So there was back and forth.
Yeah, that's the one they wanted here a year ago. And I guess
It was my goal, so there was a lot of confusion and not a lot of knowledge about what was actually happening. So,
would be outside.
the fact is, the work is done,
I guess they walk
but
all
on the other hand, not all the work is done. So there's a percentage. He wants all the money.
Yeah, there's nothing there, we're gonna kick the can down.
Got less control.
That was his choice.
Right. I've done that before. I mean, and I learned. And it had the time material thing, and I spread everything evenly. And then they got to the end of the contract, and they did this, they terminate contract, because they want to bring somebody else in. You know, they want their buddies or something. So I put all the
Easy coin.
overhead up front. And so the contract author said, and this is the only time I'll ever you're a much smarter businessman. Because I'd been through it before where they hose you know, I mean, like trucks and all this overhead stuff you had to buy. And then, you know, they don't care. Well, I still got a contract to finish it.
That's all for a package.
Anyway, it was.
They made a great presentation. Question. Aaron actually did the design and, you know, I guess it's not. They're in gold colors, right? They've been there since.
All whole damages.
I don't know.
Well, then, you know, you do this testimony,
Really tough.
videos into the summer.
Courtrooms go
It's been cool, really great place to go to.
I don't know. I would.
That's right. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I don't want to borrow yours because.
Oh, man. Sounds great.
Is it gonna be a big one and big expensive material?
$1,000.
Yeah, he'll get it to you for $50.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what he was.
It's a gift that's less than $3 or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know about his name being on the side of it.
Do we have communication volume with the
I spent well, that's my,
years?
a lot of degrees.
Who's running it?
Yeah. Not make mistakes.
Yeah.
How's that for a second? Maybe we should have drove together.
New camera.
Okay. It's a little out of my breath.
They laughed at me.
Sue is on the.
I got one on my phone. Oh, that ain't crooked.
Actually brought cold water. Couldn't believe that.
Talk about the lux.
I know, right?
Hydrate.
Okay. I thought she had to be over there.
You can run that from there, right?
Yeah.
There's.
Call meeting to order, stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Molitor. Ms. Curry. Mr. Whitmore,
Here.
Mr. Bob,
Here.
Mr. Craig,
Present.
Mr. Mount,
Here.
Mr. Granger. Mr. Doherty, Mr.
Cliff Repperger, REPPERG.
For the record, Mr. Granger and Mr. Molitor are both on the Zoom call. But we do have 4 members for a quorum. We can move forward with regular voting. Next is approval of agenda. Justin, is there any adjustments or additions or subtractions to the agenda as presented?
Yes, sir. I'll be reading one additional invoice for the approval of invoices, and then we need to add the grant for the Arthur Dunn master plan update to accept that from our friends, the FAA.
Okay, so we've got addition of the grant for Arthur Dunn to discuss and vote. And we have one extra additional invoice. What is that fall under Merritt Island Space Coast?
That one is under Merritt Island.
Merritt Island. So we have 3 invoices for Merritt Island. What's the name of that?
That is under Merritt Island, the corporate hangar project.
Separate from the one that's already there.
Yeah, there's it's on this. I'll give you an updated sheet. So it's on the updated sheet.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is. Yeah. Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the additions as noted? Okay. Second by Mr. Seconded, and all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Approval of meeting minutes. Is there any additions or subtractions or questions about the May 19th regular meeting minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Moved by Mr. Voss, second by Mr. Whitmore. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Action items, Justin.
We'll start with the grant. We can have that first.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. We received yesterday from the FAA, we received our approved grant application, the offer for the update to the master plan at Arthur Dunn Airport. This is part of the overall master plan update. We should be getting another one for Merritt Island and another one for Space Coast, and then separately for the Spaceport master plan. But the FAA issued this one first. And we're bringing it separate because it has to be accepted by the 15th of next month, which will be before the next board meeting. It's for $450,000 for the first year, and then the second year is $107,547, which is their 90%. We're responsible for 10%. So we got just a little over $50,000 a year for what we're responsible for. And now, and FDOT will pick up, I believe, 8% of that. So we'll end up paying 2%.
There a motion to accept the grant for Arthur Dunn Airport as presented. Thanks for discussion.
I'll make a motion.
Right, and second by Mr. Boss. Is there any questions or discussion?
Are there any points of
It's just a standard grant. Yeah, it's $500,000, a little more.
And when, once we approve that, when will that start? By the way, we have it all in place for you.
well, we have to negotiate with
The, this is what we asked for. This is the amount of money we asked for. So it's really the negotiations already done.
okay.
All right, any other questions, comments? Any attorney comments? No. Standard grant? Okay. Call a question. All in favor of the approval for the grant for the FAA grant for the Arthur Dunn Master Plan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none. Motion passes 4-0. Weston. All right, what's next?
The next item is reference to the corporate hangar project at Merritt Island. The NASI project's moving along, so we are at a point now where we need to order a building and follow the airport authority's purchasing policies. Since it's more than $25,000, it comes before the board. So we would like to do a direct purchase. It costs really the airport nothing because 50% is paid for by an FDOT grant, and the other half is paid for by the customer, Merritt Island Aviation. So we are looking for an approval. They've got several bids. I think Mark can tell me better. We've got 30 some odd companies or
More than,
Yeah.
We pull out a bunch, up to 52 different companies we solicit out to, then provide hangers and hanger doors, because they kind of come with two different options.
yeah. So we're looking at this proposal right now. The building itself with the hydraulic swing doors, what the customer wants, is $161,050 with the door. That's just for the building itself delivered. That's not putting the building up. It's not the site work or any of that stuff. It's just for the building.
how much you think?
So again,
How much did you say?
it's $161,50. It's a 60 by 60 building with the headers 23 foot. That's with the door. And that company, we could get it in November, I think.
Right, and we've continued to get additional bids in, additional solicitations. We're trying to find one that beats that price. That's when we initially solicited for bids last year. We was about whole way up put out there, only got back 2 bids at that time. One was with Allied Building, and that was the one we've been continuing to get updated pricing from throughout this process. I know Friday Kevin had met with Mr. Granger or Lieutenant and they were asking what to do with our other bids that are out there. So we've resolicited, expanded the list. Because you have the updated price from the ones we had originally talked to. I've got more recent ones that came in literally less than an hour ago that may end up beating that number. So but we're still trying to make sure that we are talking apples to apples on the comparison of what the bids. So our goal here is to know the Allied number is where we are. As far as I'm looking at it as a max. And if we can beat it, we're going to try and beat it, and then the safety come back to it.
Yeah, I'm asking for a not to exceed price. We added additional 20% owners allowance.
So the way this is, kind of open like this, you could go back to Allied, ask them for a best and final.
Yes, pretty much where we are. I've been asking for best of final. I've got the one I have, they're using the same door. One's door is cheaper than the other. One the other promotion. So where you hide your money and that kind of thing. So
The issue, right, I mean, prices are changing.
Sure.
Quickly,
So I mean, we need to get it issued.
yeah, so I'm getting the coach of the bottom line. This price is good for 7 to 15 days, for 15 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're ready to get it done. So
Is this the Dr. Nastasi's? No.
So this is Mr. Granger's building.
Oh,
So looking at the terms and conditions and reading through that, they're pretty tough. They pretty much spell it out about, there's a lot of ways to get fit in that. Is this standard for what you see? Is this application in this industry?
yes, sir, it is. They've got a lot. What we're doing here is we're asking the authority to purchase the building. At this time, we're using, so it now becomes an owner supplied building to the final contract, which we're putting bid out for the site work and the site work include the erection of the building. That allows the authorities tax exempt status to be able to be applied to applying the building. That is something that we have used before. It reduces the overall cost of the project rather than having the contractor go ahead and acquire all that, paying the taxes for that. Building. At the end of because I think with correcting me wrong, Justin, when the lease on it is over, that building comes back to the authority.
Right.
So you're buying your building, you're going to basically lease out the building. So that's kind of how it's being structured. And one thing that we're doing with this, by getting building purchase and getting the seal out, will include their shop drawings as the appendix to the bid contract. So then anybody who's bidding on it, here's what's included, but from the building manufacturer, you've got to provide everything else. So make sure that everything is covered and accounted for when the project's being done. So that it doesn't leave anything hanging out there that that's not included. No, we're going to make sure that it's included in the contract. It's not included in this contract. It will be in the manufacturer's contract, and that's a separate board action that would come once we actually have this on that.
And council, do you agree that this terms and conditions is standard for this industry? And wow, some pretty tight stuff.
Yes.
All right, we need, I'll make a motion to accept this.
So just to be clear, the motion is to, or the motion that would be looking for would be to approve an amount not to exceed $193,260 for the direct purchase of the Merritt Island corporate hangar.
Hangar and doors.
And doors.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And doors.
That's my motion, yes.
Well put.
Did we get that?
Well put, Don.
Motion made by Mr. Mount. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Whitmore. Any more discussion or questions?
Just a quick question. There aren't going to be any material shortages on this project where we're going to get strung out for a long time?
Not from the different manufacturers I've talked, from the different ones that I've talked with. No, they're all Allied, for example. They went and they bought a steel plant in Mexico to make sure they got steel that they would have in supply. So they're running into issues, but the ones that are giving this is, if you went order it now or next week, they're getting like the one I have that quote be confirmed. It'd be in early November delivery date. So 5 months is the fastest we've seen it, the fastest thing they can get it here. I had others tell me 9 to 10 months just for the doors. Jeez. So. For the record, Mark Kistler with Microwave.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion passes 4-0. Justin.
Next is the approval of invoices for projects. Merritt Island Airport, we have for the North Area Security and Infrastructure Project, we have request number 2 and 3. The first one, Carl Thorne, trucking and land clearing for $14,703.82. The next one for $27,520.88. Also from Merritt Island for the corporate hangar project, for Michael Baker, $4,715.90. And Space Coast for the VAC and the East Taxi Lane project for Carr and Collier, two requests, $26,125 and $14,924.
So motion to approve the 5 invoices as presented. Motion moved by Mr. Goss, second by Mr. Mount. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor of the approval of the 5 invoices as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. That it, Justin?
That is it.
All right, then you can continue, please, with your operations and maintenance report.
All right, we'll go there. See if this works here.
I just saw Jessica Curry's name up on the board. Does that mean she's joined?
Yep, she has joined yet.
Very good.
Do this from here. Legacy projects, we'll start with those. Runway 927. The pavement was done last month right before the air show. The final markings are, it should be put down, weather permitting, next week sometime. And then there's a small drainage project that's going to go on with that. That's probably take another month or two before we get that moving. That is moving along nicely. Al can vouch for it. He's made a few marks on the runway. Hangar 52 demo. The consultant, the engineering consultant, did their own survey work on it. They're compiling that stuff right now, and then getting ready to close that out. Hopefully by the end of this month or beginning of next month, that'll be closed out. The VAC apron and East Taxi Lane is well underway. The majority of the clearing is done. The gopher tortoise has been removed. That is going along nicely. Willow Creek, there's really been no update. You don't have any update on Willow Creek, maybe? Nothing's changed.
Nothing significant.
Corporate hangar project, we just talked about that. Purchase the building, and they're going to build it, bid out the site work soon, so we get that moving. The EA for T hangars down at Merritt Island, there has been no change on that. It's still ongoing. If you've been by Merritt Island lately, the Nancy project is underway. The pond's dug out. They've got the majority of the pipe there. There's a few structures still coming. July 7th, I think, is when they arrive. So that is the lift station components arrive, I think, soon.
Yeah.
The next couple weeks. So that is all well underway.
Which end of the airport's that lift station going on? Mr. West.
It's going on the north side, kind of close to the beacon. New projects, the AWAS at Arthur Dunn is, there's no change on that right now. We're kind of not stalled up, but we're waiting for the Merritt Island ones. We can bid them together. The Merritt Island AWAS, we're going to do an analysis to see if there's two places we can put it. We can put it on the north side or the south side. The north side, if we put it there, it kind of blocks development. If there's some land that it will be developed eventually. If you put it there, we're going to have to do that development in the future. The south side, there's a lot of mangroves. And the AWAS would actually have to be on an elevated platform to get above the tree line. So it's going to be 15 foot above the tree line. So we'd have to maintain those trees. And a lot of them are mangroves. So we're working right now with FWC to see how we can maintain those mangroves. If that's even worth the cost to do that, or we just go to the north side. So we should have something on that next month. Decide on that.
The siding selection for the air traffic control replacement project here, that was done 2 weeks ago. We picked and the FAA picked the site immediately behind the current tower. Has the best utility access. I mean, it's going to be the lowest cost. And it still has the floor height is 86 feet, so you'll have no obstructions. You'll have really good view. So it works out the best just to stay right there. And that grant is moving into the design and EA that got approved. So we'll be moving into design here quickly. The fuel farm relocation project, that is survey is almost done. They're here today doing a couple last minute finalizing the survey, but that would be located immediately in front of the existing tower. There's potential that we could move all the fuel farm, or because there's 2 fuel farms here at Space Coast. There's one on the west side and one on the east side. So this is to replace the east side one, but there's potential that we could move the one on the west side too and consolidate all the tanks into one area. The one on the west side is currently in a taxi lane safety area, so eventually it's going to have to be moved. So there might be enough money to do it all in one place, which will be nice. Our monument signs that we're working on, they sent us some concepts. Some of them look pretty good and some of them didn't. So the ones that look pretty good, we're tweaking them, and we should have something to bring back to the board next meeting. Okay. So.
I got a request. Sure. It may not be doable. I was looking at the AWAS examples 1 and 2, and I stared at those things, and I finally saw a little differentiation. Would it be possible when we're doing graphics to do separate sheet or whatever, just to make it a little bigger?
Yes, sir. I can do a full page for you.
I don't know if anybody else is keen on that, but not real clearly. It took a while. Just trying to keep up.
Yeah, no, we can do that.
As long as we're here, guess what's the latest on the noise group down at Merritt Island? Are you still meeting?
Yeah, we have not met in a few months. We are going to meet again. We haven't had, it's not why we stopped meeting, but we haven't had, I can say it out loud here, but it's been very quiet. The only noise complaints we've gotten recently were for this airport because of the air show. We were nasty. It was fun. But yeah, we were waiting on the AWAS because we wanted to try doing some right-hand pattern work, and the recording doesn't work on the current AWAS. We are going to meet again here.
I can tell you that just anecdotally, it seems to be fewer people not being lower than they should be. So I don't know if the word's out or what, but the past month I've seen less infractions.
Yeah, and I did have one noise complaint from Merritt Island. I picked that back. We did have one, and it was, we used VerTower to able to see that it was a student pilot. He was flying at night doing pattern work. It was one of the flight schools, and we just asked him if he could try not to do that at 11 o'clock at night. And he was making some low passes over Newfound Harbor, so they talked to the student, and we pushed again. We said, why don't you come up here where you're not going to have that kind of issue.
Yeah. Is there a moratorium down there on night operations?
No.
I was there the other day and they were flying, taking off to the east. Is there a time of the year when the directions switch over there? Where, I mean, our noise is because they were landing to the west.
Just in the window. When they're landing to the east, if they're coming over those houses.
Right.
On the tropical trail. Those were most of the
Yeah.
coming.
So I didn't know if there was a certain month or time of year that it had the prevailing winds coming from the west.
It's a mixed bag there.
I face east to the Banana River, and it's about 90% of the time the wind's out of the east.
True. We had West operations the other day, and there was somebody doing pattern work, and I guess It's maybe 2.5 miles from the end of the runway to my house. So there was some lower altitude work that the redundancy early in the morning got interesting, but other than that, it's been pretty quiet. Good.
I've got operation totals if you want to hear them. I didn't make a slide for it, but Arthur Dunn for the month of May averaged 70 operations a day, Space Coast 130 operations a day, and Merritt Island 305 operations a day.
How do you track that?
We have software, it's called Bird Tower, that gives us some very interesting data.
Okay, I know Summer Riddle has turned that into a practice area. There were 5 in the pattern. It's up there. From Emory Riddle.
Yeah, there's usually a lot of rooms.
They do true.
All right, any other questions for Justin? All right, finance.
And for the record, Christina Bernard, Deputy Director of Finance and Administration. I know you guys have a check register, and first we'll go over that and see if you have any questions.
Questions on the check register? T's handyman service,
Yes, sir.
they're highly utilized,
Yes,
do a
sir.
good job.
Yes, sir.
Good to know. Looking for some work, maybe. And I probably should know this, but I don't. Who's Cynthia Leonard?
Cynthia Leonard, she is a retired CPA.
Oh, okay.
She was formerly affiliated with Cleveland Dawson, now Concord Syndrome. So she has been helping to assist in getting us caught up.
Cool.
So,
Excellent.
and within saying that, I know that we had on the agenda the financial statements, and it was going to be through April 30th. I was desperately trying to get them completed, but the process is rather manual because of our system. And I was combining all 5 companies into one company, as well as it's based off of accrual. So I want one more pass before I release them. I mean, it was down to the wire, close, but it got to the point I didn't know where you guys were in the meeting. So I couldn't print them off, but I can send them to you via email at the latest on Monday, because I also have, Cindy take another look at them too, just because it's such a manual process and we're trying to catch up still on so many things from years, past. And then once we got to the audit, we were basically behind 6 months. But, and it's unfortunate what's holding us up right now is it's because it's 5 companies and all the intercompany transfers, and that's very hard to reconcile because there's so many transactions. And we just want to make sure we're right. We were this close, but we tried desperately. Also with the system, we've had more crashes. I know you weren't here when we discussed it last meeting, but the system has not been cooperating either. And we've kind of crashed several times, as well as we have support in South Africa. And even when we're on the phone with them, their phone line will go dead. So it's been very challenging, to say the least. But we're
Justin,
moving
what's
forward.
our, I can't remember, I know we discussed this a while back, but what's our plan to transition to a new system?
It's just to purchase QuickBooks.
Right.
Yeah.
So with
Chris, if you-
trying to get everything in line, because we're not going to migrate the information from Sage because of the issues that we're having. I mean, we even had to go back and it changed our beginning balances. It just changed from the end of the year because the file got corrupt for whatever reason. They've even, you weren't here last meeting either, but they're no longer selling this program because of the problems you're having. It's based through the cloud and it's online. But with that being said, we've been concentrating on financial statements, and our next thing is to get the chart of accounts the way we want it. And once we get that set up, then we'll be loading it. So we're hoping that we can have it by September 1st to start utilizing it and to run a mirror, what we're doing now to make sure that things working correctly.
And will that system allow us to break into cost centers, the individual airports?
Yes, sir. And that I've already started. With the old system, again, it's very manual because I have to do it between account numbers. I can't do it utilizing the system because of the way the chart of accounts is set up right now. So we are doing that. We've already spread costs. Actually, we've done it. We've separated out Arthur done Merritt Island, Space Coast, as well as Gina. Okay. So that's the status. I apologize.
No
Trying
worries.
very,
Thank
very
you.
hard.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, on to the attorney's report.
No, Cliff Rapper again, sitting in with you. I don't have any further update on the item that's actually on the agenda, the investigation findings. That will need to be postponed again, unfortunately. And as Mr. Bird did advise you last meeting, the last trial has begun. I have not received any personal updates from Mr. Bird. However, I believe that the chair has been advised of the status of the trial. So I think it's going well from what I hear, but I have not been told that directly.
Yes, let's first of all, let's do a motion to postpone the complaint as presented as we have each week. Motion by Mr. Buzz, second by Mr. Whitmore. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, at the same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. All he told me was, yes, we're in the, obviously the fourth day of the trial. Mr. Welsh testified all day today, 8 hours. Jeez. With a break, but pretty much all day. Aaron has not, probably Monday or Tuesday. He still thinks it will wrap up by Wednesday, but we're not sure. But that's a good 8-day trial. It is. So it'll be interesting to see. And just for everyone's knowledge, I did have a discussion with Adam and and Kevin about 2 weeks before the trial, maybe 10 days before the trial was supposed to start, just to see what the flavor was for settlement, because the judge was pushing hard for that. But there was absolutely no desire from the client, from the plaintiff side, yeah, which was interesting because their attorney thought that was going to be an option, but there wasn't. So we're at where we're at, and we'll see what happens.
Can you expound a little bit on what this is all about for those of us who don't know?
So this is long before I was here as well. It was Merritt Island Airport, and Justin, please correct me if I'm wrong, or if because you were here.
No,
You weren't
Yeah.
even here.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was some work that Welsh had bid on to extend the runway.
The
Runway safety area into the obviously the Banana River, into Sykes Creek, basically. And a portion of that was because there was seagrass there, the Army Corps wanted to mitigate that by moving seagrass that already was there and building big farms for the I say farms, but big crates basically that the seagrass would sit in and like on the airport property until then they would build an island at the end of it and put the seagrass back in. And so that was all part, that was one of the line items in the contract, obviously. And then what happened was about 3/4 of the way through, the Army Corps decided there was a lot of other stuff going on in between there, and they bought the big crates, and they removed the seagrass, and they put the seagrass in these big crates, and then the seagrass ended up dying anyway. But the Army Corps came back and said, you don't need to do that. That's, and then that got, because the FAA knew, they pulled the funding out for that portion of it, right? So then we didn't pay for that we didn't pay the plaintiff for that portion of the contract. Unfortunately, the plaintiff had put basically all his G&A inside that line item, which meant quite a bit of the work that he actually did do didn't get paid correctly because of the lack of knowledge of how the contract worked by previous people that were here. So there was a lot of confusion, and why it wasn't settled at that time, I can't tell you. I have no idea, nor did Mr. Bird, nor did anybody, but those people are all gone. So we're at where we're at. We thought we could get it settled out of court, but
How far back does the seagrass incident go?
2016.
2016? Thank you.
So we'll see what happens.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. All revolving around seagrass.
It's a big thing these days.
It's won many awards. Project.
The project won a ton of awards.
Yeah.
We built the thing, we had the zoo involved, and they were like pulling the seagrass out, and I mean, it was like, there was a whole bunch of like good positive, there was stuff in magazines about it. Like how great we had done. Unfortunately, the payment cycle didn't work correctly, so. Do you have anything more to add?
That's all I have.
That's about it.
That's it.
All right, well, is there anything else? Nothing from the attorney? Long as we've got, Ms. Curry, are you there?
Yes.
Hello, Ms. Curry, do you have anything, we're at board members' reports, anything you want to report or question on?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You, Mr. Granger, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Hey, can somebody give a recap of the air show?
Air show. Recap.
The airplane.
Justin?
The air show was they said it was a success. They didn't give us numbers on how many attended. They won't give us those numbers. And they look forward to Cocoa Beach next year and then coming back here the following year.
Surprising.
The F-22 stole the show.
They no showed?
No, they were there. They did.
They said they stole the show.
Oh, stole the show. Okay. Nope, that's it. I don't have anything else. Thanks for asking.
Mr. Mahler, anything?
Yes, I'm here. The only comment I have is I appreciate, Justin, the effort you put into upgrading our video, but I'm having a hard time hearing the meeting proceedings over the audio system that we have. I wondered how Jessica and Mark felt about that.
I had the similar difficulty, although I've dialed in just once before, and I think this is still an improvement over the last time. But it is difficult still.
Okay, we'll adjust the microphones. Justin's got that for action. Anything else, Roger?
That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whitmore?
Nothing from me.
And then Mr. Foss?
Talking to the folks in the tower, they're delighted that they're getting a new tower and they were pleased that they were involved in the process of locating it. So made some points with those guys.
Yeah, they set up this whole virtual reality thing, and Dave, the tower manager, he was the one in there talking to the FAA, all the consultants, everybody that was involved. He was, he tried every tower location. He tried virtually. You could see what it was really cool.
It was well done. They appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's a really neat setup.
I don't really have anything.
How's the move gone?
Great.
Good, please.
Yeah,
Settled in.
yeah.
Happy?
Yep.
We've got USATs took over the wing.
They moved in today. Yeah, we're still going through their lease, but yes.
Okay, and where, I know you're, but where are we at on the lease improvement plan?
Yeah, so I talked to Kevin about that the other day. We are still working to get rid of the CAM fees and wing fees and lump it all into one payment. So it's like simpler. I think the holdup is the trial and looking at that. And the appraiser too, he's on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have we gotten the appraisal?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I do have a question. Is there something about a Form 1 we're supposed to submit by July 1st to the county?
Yes,
Anybody know anything about that?
yes. You should.
It should have been mailed to you.
Point me in the right
Should have
direction.
gotten it in the mail.
And if you don't get it in,
Oh,
it's $750 fine.
And they mail it to you?
I haven't received one.
I haven't.
forgot about that.
You should have gotten one from the supervisor of elections. Although quite candidly, I don't know, you all are a dependent special district. So I assume that as appointed members of the dependent special district that you must, have you filed Form 1s in the past, I believe?
I've done it for a different board that I'm on.
I don't think I was already.
There may be a quirk with regard to appointed versus non-appointed. If you give me a few minutes after
This
the
is
meeting, I
state,
can probably
isn't this a
advise
state?
you on that.
I did it back in the fall when I came on, and that was how I knew about the July 1st date. It was a little note to self.
But those have been mailed, the Form 1s have been mailed out. I know that because I have to fill it out for another agency.
Yeah, it would be good to know if you had to.
So I'll tell.
I don't think I filled it out for this, because I had,
Yeah.
when I was appointed, I was still an elected official, so it's underneath that.
Are they coming snail mail?
Yeah, they would.
Mine did. Mine came from.
Do you mind
But I'll look into
taking
that.
a look
I can
at
look
that
into that.
and then
Yeah,
maybe
give me
just shoot a quick blast out, and then if we have to, I can get a hold of.
Yeah.
We'll call and supervisor, Lori, and make sure we
Make
get
sure you
the
can,
forms.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, is there anything, anybody, any public that would like to speak? Anything else? Business come before the board? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you. Good job, Justin. Thanks. Oh, yeah.
I'm already got it. Anywhere from an hour and 15 to an hour.
Oh, yeah.
and 45.
Busy.
Depends on what traffic is like on the other side. Usually it's yes.
Especially when they're joining us. That is a mess from about the time the 417, truly, from there to 27. Stop and go.
There was some stuff that didn't, like,
You went already away. Boy, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, you would know that.
Well, I got to see the original.
I'm not sure they can see, you know, it's new. It's all.
I usually go with that part for right Feel my heart.
You really passed out.
It is, it's cliche. Yeah. See, man.
And they built the story around it. Like, oh, man, he was all embarrassed.
Justin, take care.
Like, oh, that's perfect.
How are you?
Yeah.
I didn't see the original because I really pissed me off.
Okay.
I never got to it. It's like, why do the aggravation? Anybody got to do that?
Oh, yes.
So was he letting
You can look at it. So, appointed members of the following boards.
Yeah. It's something
For
that
my three years,
for my 3 years on board. It's part of the
Community college.
Disclosure statement about
That's
finance
really-
or something.
Apples for apples.
And it was,
Honestly, you say that.
when I filled it out.
I just think it's great. I just think it's crazy that, you know, they're now saying 7 days.
They apply to local bodies. They do their certain-
And it might very well be. as a group.
I think they're outside that.
I would have thought they would-
And you're gonna.
I texted Kevin about the rocket thing.
but, you know,
It's a pretty
they were like,
specific.
hey,
And I don't see your.
but I mean,
Mark, hey, Mark, good to see you.
That, you know, there are local.